Gentlemen, thank you for taking the time. 3 picks, 3 new players. I guess, what is the common intangible thread that all these players have? Both of you, if you could please answer. Thanks.
They now play for the Washington football team. That's what you get. I think each and every one of those guys are the right type of character fit first and foremost for us. At least we believe he is. We try to do our homework and background on these guys to make sure we like who they are in terms of their athletic ability. They give us position flex. I know you guys know that's a big thing for me. I do like the potential of all the guys. I think Sam and Benjamin and Diami are all guys that can come in and contribute early in their careers too.
Yeah. Martin, do you want to add anything to that?
I would agree. I mean, all good football character guys, all good workers, all good football intelligence guys. I think they have that in common. I think our entire draft class right now has that in common.
And a follow-up here, kind of a similar question I asked yesterday in terms of the quarterback position. Had another opportunity to maybe take a quarterback here tonight. Did you consider that? And ultimately, why didn't you? And could you be in play for a quarterback tomorrow?
Yeah, we're in play for everything. Like I said, we set our board. We spent a lot of time on that. Our guys hit the road back in August and started evaluating these players. And we had, meetings with our coaching staff. We've been meeting and getting our board together for months now. And we're going to listen to our board, and we tried to take guys that fit positions of need, but that also were, guys that were graded well at the time that we were on the clock. So that's kind of how we're approaching the whole thing. And we feel, again, we feel like the quarterbacks that we have are good football players. There are other good football players out there that play the quarterback position, but we're going to look at everything from a holistic level and make the best pick at every opportunity.
Ron, do you have anything to add?
No, I think Martin said exactly right. I mean, our guys did a great job. They put a good board up for us, and we really feel strong and confident with the guys that we've taken.
Thank you.
Sharla? Nikki, go ahead.
This is for Ron or Martin too, I guess. But when you started watching Dyami Brown, what really stood out to you, and how important is that third receiver spot? With so many teams playing more 11 personnel.
I think the biggest thing, Nikki, when you look at it is his catches on contested balls. I think I saw a stat that said it was very good. It was in the high 90 percentile. He's a guy that seems to come down with a tough catch. He had a couple of concentration drops on some easy balls, but man, when he competed for it, he went out and got it. I like the way he runs his routes, gets off the line of scrimmage, and is able to stack the defender right away and use his speed to keep his body between himself, keep the ball between himself and the defender.
And where do you envision Cosme on the line?
Well, we're going to put him out at left tackle and see how he does. That's what he did in college. He played it very well in college, and that's why we think he's a really good pick for us because of what he does. He's going to get an opportunity to compete, and we'll see how it goes.
JP, I don't think Kime's on.
Hey, between Jamin Davis and then Dyami and even Sam Cosme for the position, clearly looks like speed is a priority in this draft. How do you feel you're doing, and what, if that's accurate, led you guys to that decision? I'd like it from both of you if possible, please.
Yeah, well, none of those guys were picked, just specifically for their speed. But we, as I said yesterday, we do understand that team speed is really important. All those guys have other attributes that they bring to the table that are valuable to us. But yeah, we want to get faster. We want to get younger. We want to get healthier. That's the purpose of the draft, from my standpoint. And all these guys have brought that to the table for us.
And I agree with what Martin said. They all bring it to the table for us. I think the biggest thing, again, when we talk about, who we draft, why we want to draft them, it's about fit first and foremost. Does he fit with us character-wise? Does he fit for us as football players? And does he possess the position flex that we like? Or at least I believe in. The speed is part of the athletic ability. And, we are trying to make a conscientious effort of playing fast. And these guys that we've drafted, starting yesterday and into today, are guys that we believe bring that to the table.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Ben.
Hi, for both of you, but Martin, yesterday you made the comment about like the idea of you want to build through the draft, and obviously that's something that is often discussed. But just for both of you, philosophically, what is the importance of that right now with where you guys are as an organization? You didn't take any of the picks you had to make a bigger move per se. What for you right now why does that make sense for where you guys are right now?
Well, we have some young talent on this team right now. Obviously, we were able to win our division last year. We think we can take steps by adding more young talent to this team. And again, it helps us from a cap standpoint, and it helps us to add depth to our team to utilize the draft for that purpose.
I agree with what Martin's saying about this is that, if you can build predominantly through the draft and be able to keep your own and do it the right way, you give yourself an opportunity to keep a group of players together longer, and especially if they're the right kind of guys and they're playing the kind of football you need them to play. So this is an exciting time for us. We came in, and as I've said before, we inherited a pretty good group. We got them coached up this past year, and we got better at the end of the season at the right time. And I hope we can carry that momentum going forward. And that's what our intent and intention is to come back, start at the bottom, work our way back up and build that momentum up as we get into the regular season.
And for either of you or both of you, you guys drafted a defensive back with a great first name. Just curious what stood out about St. Just to you guys during this process.
He really did a really good job at the Senior Bowl. Really caught my eye there. But the guy is 6'3". He runs well, uses his hands, uses his length very well. A lot of times you see big corners and they aren't as aggressive at the line as they could be. This guy utilizes his length at the line of scrimmage. Does a good job triggering versus the run. He brings a lot to the table as far as his overall skill set and his size. So they're definitely our defensive coaches were very convicted on him and very excited about having him join us.
Yeah, one of the exciting things about him is his physical play, his physical nature. That's a guy who will come up to the line of scrimmage and be physical, and a guy that will tackle. And I appreciate who Benjamin is. I think Benjamin brings a lot to the table. And it's going to be interesting, Ben, when you get an opportunity to talk to Benjamin.
Hey, Ron. You guys have had a lot of success in the third round, specifically, Antonio Gibson last year, Terry McLaurin the year before that. We've talked about them as steals for the draft. I guess, do you consider either of your third round picks this year as steals? Like, how kind of excited were you that both players felt to you were at those spots?
Very exciting. Excited about it because, in the third round, if you let the board do its job, if you believe in the way it's been set, the highest graded guy or the guy that you've graded highest at that position or for your stacking is still there, then you're going to get the steal. Your grade may not reflect others, but if he's the guy that you believe in, and I know for a fact, Terry was for this group before we got here. We had him rated very high in Carolina as well, but they did their job here. Kyle Smith and those guys stayed true to the board, and they took Terry when they should have. Last year was the same thing for us with Antonio. Antonio was a guy that we had high up on the board, and when it came time to grab him, there he was, and he was above everybody. We took him. We're in the same situation this year. We had two guys that we liked. And as the draft unfolded today, and Martin spoke about it earlier, we set the board for a reason, and if you trust in it, you're gonna make good decisions.
And then Martin, there was a run of tackles there in the second round. A couple teams moved up. Was that something that you guys were looking to do, or what made you kind of just say like, oh, we hope Sam is there as the board was kind of unfolding?
Well, we talked about moving up. We talked about moving back. We had calls coming in. As things unfolded, we had a number of guys that were still there that we felt very comfortable with in the second round, and Sam was at the very top of that group. So we felt comfortable staying there and picking him. Back to your question about the mid rounds, I just want to say that really that's where your area guys and your scouts make their money. It's locating those guys that are not necessarily top tier first round picks, but have a skill set that allows them to excel at this level. And our college scouts have done an outstanding job. We're going to try to keep that entire group together if we can. We're working on that now. But I've really been impressed with the job that our college scouts have done. And Tim Gribble has done a great job as our college director as well. And obviously Marty and Eric Stokes, and everybody's been very involved in pitching in. But it's been a great collaboration. And I can't say enough about the great job our college guys have done thus far.
And just for a quick point of clarification, Benjamin on his call was saying that a couple coaches asked him to play free safety at the Senior Bowl. Were you guys one of the teams that were interested in that, to see him, how he looked there?
Well, again, one of the biggest things is when we get together, we'll see how everybody fits for us. He does have a skill set, and he also has a body type that lends itself to having some position flex.
Thanks.
Hey guys, for both of you, I wonder what it's been like working through decisions in this, remodeled front office, especially with as many trades were flying around early in that second round.
To me, I really like the structure the way it is. As we set the board, Marty will set the group together. We'll discuss it. We'll move them around. Martin's fielding, for the most part, is fielding all the trade requests and discussing them and coming to us, and we talk about it. And as he said, we had several calls today for people trying to move up. We had one team in particular that wanted to move up, and they wanted to pick St. Jude's, and we picked Benjamin, and they called us right back and said that was our guy. So you feel okay, we did it right. So. Again, I just like the way we did things, the collaboration that was involved, Marty, Martin, Eric, Tim, Rebels, the guys, each guy did their job, played their role, and everybody had a conversation, spot in the conversation and the discussion on players. And so it came down to being able to collaborate and then make a decision at the end, which I thought we did. And we've done well so far.
And Martin, what's it been like for you?
It's been great collaboration. Just like Coach just said, Marty and I work very well together the entire time since we got here in January, and I'm getting to know Tim better. Tim and I are working well together. Eric and I have known each other for years, just through phone calls with different teams. But we've got a really solid group. We don't have a lot of ego. Everybody states their opinion. We're able to talk things through and make good decisions thus far. And that's what the plan is, to continue to keep that going.
And when a trade call comes in like that, I wonder how you evaluate, Martin, you're handling the phone call. Is that something that you bring to the group and you guys discuss out together and Ron makes the final call? Or how do you go through evaluating, hey, this is a trade we want to do versus this is a trade we don't want to do?
Well, I pretty much present it to Ron. So I'll look at the trade. We have a trade point chart. I go through the point chart. I present it to Ron and show him, what the value is for us. And we talk about the players that we have lined up we might take. Do we want to bypass some of those players and go back further, or do we want to stay there? Today we stayed there. We see how it goes tomorrow. But yeah, pretty much break down what the trade is and present it to Ron and Marty.
To Marty's point, or to Martin's point, as we talk about it, when he talks up and he brings it up, the big thing that we always look at, say, is there a group of guys that are still there that we like enough? If you lose those guys, then it makes, then it makes sense to go back. And that was part of the collaboration. One of the things that Martin really felt was, hey, even though these people are making offers to us, we had conviction on these guys, and that's what what makes sense. So having somebody present it to you and then us being able to talk about it as we make our decision, I think it's about as important as it gets.
Thank you.
Ron, can you trace back your appreciation for position flex and versatility to a certain year or a certain coach? Where did that quality first start mattering so much to you?
When I was with Norv Turner in San Diego, I was Norv's defensive coordinator, and we were playing, I believe it was Oakland, the Raiders, when they were still in Oakland. And we, at the time, we only kept 2 extra offensive linemen available on the game day roster. And so we had 2 guards go down, and we had a rookie tackle who, as far as we knew, had never played guard. And we had to stick him at guard. And when we put him at guard, he excelled. We won the game. And afterwards, they were talking about it. And we asked our offensive line coach, Norv asked us, well, has he ever played guard? And the offensive line coach responded, no. Well, then we talked to the kid and found out that he had played guard before. And all of a sudden the conversation goes, well, that's position flex. That's the value of it. This was back about 10, 11 years ago, more than that, about 11 or 12 years ago. And, now you start thinking as you're going into these games where, you can only keep 47 or 48 active based on the new rules, that your primary backups at each position cannot just be single slot guys anymore. They have to have position flex. Even if they're starters, they have to have it because, sometimes, a guy playing, let's, for instance, as an example, playing right tackle. If something happens to the left guard and that right tackle can be a better left guard than the backup, who's a better right tackle, then you take the backup, put him at right tackle because he's better at it than he is at left guard. But then you move somebody that's already starting to another position. That's what position flex does for you. It gives you the opportunity to put the best combination of guys out on the field. And that's really stuck with me was that one game that we took a rookie who we didn't know had played some guard in college and stuck him at guard, and he got it done. So I've always kind of kept it ever since then in my mind. And also having versatile linebackers, I think, kind of led me to that. When I was a player, I knew all the linebacking positions, and so I was really the first sub that came onto the field early in my career because I could play, all 3 of our linebacking positions: the Sam, the Mike, and the Will.
Got it. And I appreciate that answer and look forward to you guys drafting somebody named Pete tomorrow to match up with the Benjamins here.
Okay.
We got time for 3 more. Les, David Aldridge, and Chris Russell to finish it off.
Hey, this is for both of you. We were talking to some of these players over the last 2 days that you've drafted, and it seems when we talk to them that they have had a connection with you guys, this staff, that seems more personal than maybe they felt with other teams. You kind of alluded to it, I guess, a little bit that some of these were the guys you wanted. Did you have that connection with lots of other players too, or were these the guys that maybe you guys felt the most bond to?
Well, it seems to me, just each situation, each pick today especially, there was conviction on these guys. And there was, there's 3 or 4 names there. And there were a couple guys stepping up and saying, I believe in this guy. This is the guy we should take. And I think when you have that kind of conviction, it comes from having, been around that guy, Zoom with them, talk with them, had a good, good interview with them, and maintaining that connection or growing that connection in that situation. So, we like these players. And I think that connection with our coaching staff or with our scouts probably came from, the Zoom meetings that we had or any Senior Bowl interaction or whatever. But, we really feel strongly about all the guys that we've taken thus far.
Yeah, and there are some other players that have gotten taken today that you felt a real strong connection. There was a young man that was taken very, very early today. that I actually know his father from, his father's a few years younger than me, went to the high school that I went to. I used to go back there. I used to work out. I used to work out and train some of the kids. His father was one of them. Then so as we got to talking, then bam, all of a sudden that realization that we had that connection. Well, then he actually gone to high school with my wife's cousin's daughters. So he had another connection. So, and then he was a player that fit a need for us. But sometimes somebody else picks them. So you do think about that connection. You do think about those things because then you have I think, a better feel for who this person is. And I think it helps with some of the instincts. Jamin Davis yesterday was about as natural a fit as I've felt with a player in a long time. Because of the Zoom, I Zoomed with him, just him and I. I didn't have anybody else talking with me and him. So the two of us just went back and forth. And I did that with several players, and having conversations with, just myself and them. I think that really helped me. And it's the first time I've really done it that way. And honestly, it might be something I might continue.
Yeah, do you feel like when, and I'm just not just you guys yourselves, but even assistants or scouts or whatever, is it always important to have that kind of connection in every one of these Zooms or attempt to have one? I mean, I would think that it would get very exhausting too to try to be that personal and something like that.
I think you want to try to have that, but it's just like meeting anybody else. I mean, sometimes it just comes naturally. So I don't think it's something you can force. I just think that these guys fit us, and we had a really good feeling interacting with them throughout this process.
Thanks.
Hey, fellas. I was wondering, when you were prepping for especially for day two, did you guys agree with the notion that wide receiver and corner were especially deep positions? And if so, did that give you some, sense that you could stay where you are and get someone in that cluster that will work for you?
Well, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
We felt very strongly about the wide receiver position being deep, and we had some opportunities in the second round to look at some wideouts. We didn't feel like there were going to be as many offensive linemen, and so we felt great about Sam Cosmi, and we went that route early, and then fortunately for us, Diami was there for us.
Yeah, in
the third round.
I agree with exactly what Martin said, the way it was portrayed, because, offensive tackle is such a hard position to find, especially guys that play well at the left spot. And so we had targeted Sam early, but we also had a couple of receivers in that clump. And as we got past that, going into the third round, some of those receivers we had clumped were still there. And so, as Martin said, we feel really good about Diami, just, because of his speed.
Yeah. And with Cosmi, I mean, you took a guy yesterday that had only started for 1 year. I wonder, on the offensive line, is it important in the case of Cosmi to take a guy that started for 3 years and shown that he's durable and can play with little dings and nicks as he goes along?
It's definitely a plus for him. I mean, it's not necessarily something we had to have, but definitely a plus for him. His versatility and his toughness are a couple of things that really attracted us to him. He's a smart football player. He's got the size that you look for and the length, and the guy's got very, very tough, plays a very, very physical brand of football. So he's a great fit for us as an offensive lineman. And yeah, I mean, we feel great about Sam and great about developing him at left tackle and his ability to play other spots if needed there.
Hey guys, this is for both of you on St. Just. Can he play inside, or is he just an outside guy? And does his presence, along with William Jackson III, kind of indicate that maybe you guys will be allowed to be more aggressive and more man coverage this year versus maybe last year? Is there a kind of a connected theme here as you go through this offseason?
Well, I think the biggest thing, and not to get in specific into what our attitude's going to be and the types of coverages we're going to play, but Benjamin has a very good skill set. His physical traits are what you're looking for. He is the kind of guy that you're going to match up on a bigger receiver, and because of that, the likelihood of him going inside at the slot on the slot is not as probable. He does have position flex, so you look at him, you do see some of those free safety skill sets, those traits. I think the thing about what he does and the way he plays, he's got good quickness, physical, as Martin said, that really does stick out, physical at the line, jamming, rerouting. He gives us some flexibility in some of the stuff that we want to call and the coverages we want to play, though.